Hey guys, SudoTech here, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be talking a little bit about Ubuntu TV. Now when I first started creating this video, I thought it would be super helpful to everyone who had an old TV like me. Actually, this one isn't too old, but it's kind of out of date and Google isn't supporting it anymore because it's a Google TV by Sony that came out a couple of years ago. And I was going to install the Ubuntu TV operating system on my laptop, plug it in over HDMI, and then use an external keyboard just to kind of use it as a new TV. The current one that I have is a smart TV, so it can do Chrome and have a few Android apps and things like that. But for some reason it's not supporting Amazon streaming anymore, and it's just altogether kind of hard to use, so I thought this would be better. But as I went through the process of installing it, which I'll go through a little bit later in this video, I found that Ubuntu TV really, for right now, isn't a good option if you're trying to do this. It's currently only supported on Ubuntu 12.04, which is pretty out of date now since we're on 16 and 14 happened in between those two releases. And although I could get it up and running, it really wasn't what I was expecting. It's not really a finished product at all, which kind of makes sense since Ubuntu hasn't been working on it for a long time. There isn't the sort of apps that I was expecting to work on a TV, the large font so that you could see it from a distance, and it's really at this state not usable. Seems that Ubuntu and Canonical have kind of put it on the back burner while they make room for bigger things like the Ubuntu phone and of course the Ubuntu desktop operating system, which is my favorite Linux distribution. Although I'm glad that they are putting a lot of resources and time into these great projects, it's kind of disappointing that Ubuntu TV, which seems to have been promising at one point, is now not really usable at all. But either way, I'm going to get into how I actually installed it in this video, although it won't be very useful. But if you're wanting to check out what it looks like, see what it kind of is able to do, I'll take you through the process. It's fairly simple, although it's not like an official install, it's more of a thing for developers. So let's get right into it. The first step, of course, is to get Ubuntu 12.04 installed on the system that you want to try out Ubuntu TV on. To do this, head over to the Ubuntu website and then go to the downloads page. There should be a link to some alternative downloads, and navigating around the site a little bit, you should be able to find an area that has a whole list of downloads by category and by the different version of the Ubuntu operating system like server or desktop. Find the desktop one for 12.04 and download it. My method of choice for creating a USB drive to install Ubuntu is to use UmiBoot. You can click the I in the top right corner to find the video where I discuss that in more detail. Otherwise, use some other method to get it onto a USB drive or a CD for installing on your computer. This is my little server corner where I have two servers and my router. One that's just my laptop, which I'm going to be using for Ubuntu TV. It has a couple of servers that I just use for playing around. And then down there I have my Pi NAS, which you can find in another video on my channel or in the eye up in the corner, which is the NAS I use on a Raspberry Pi. And yes, it's in a shoebox, but it works just fine. So once I've powered down my existing computer, I'm going to go ahead and insert the USB drive, power on, and then you should be greeted by the multi-boot screen from Yumi in my case. Otherwise, just navigate to the drive in your boot menu and you should be greeted by the Ubuntu install screen. It's really a matter of selecting next if you're starting from scratch, but I have a few other operating systems already on this computer, so I had to do a bit of a more complicated partitioning scheme. When you're done, it'll ask you to reboot, so go ahead and do that and I'll meet you back at the desktop. Well, we're still over here and connected to Ethernet because this laptop doesn't have Wi-Fi right now. I'm going to go ahead and do some basics that I do every time I install Ubuntu. So I'm going to do apt-get update and apt-get upgrade to make sure that everything's set to go and as up-to-date as possible on this out-of-date operating system. The way Ubuntu TV works is it installs a different GUI on top of your existing Ubuntu install to make it more TV friendly, although I found that this wasn't actually really the case. We're going to go into sudo mode to make everything easier and make sure you do apt-get update if you didn't do it earlier. We're going to use apt-get to get the build-dep and unity-2d packages, and then add-apt-repository pba:/u2t/bleeding edge to get the repository necessary that has all of the files in it. After we've added the repository, to use apt-get update to load it into the system. Finally, we're going to do the app-get install for unity-2d-shell, and you should be good to go. Reboot the computer, and if you're not greeted with the login screen, then go ahead and log out so that you have the prompt for your password. You should see a little Ubuntu logo in the top right-hand corner of the box that has your password, and go ahead and click that, then select the other GUI that was installed. Technically, this is supposed to be the Unity 2D GUI, but for me it happened to be the Ubuntu 2D GUI, so go ahead and click whichever's there that you're not currently using. Log back in and you should be greeted by the Ubuntu TV interface. For me, this was completely blank except for the status bar up on the top, which is kind of disappointing since I was expecting a more TV-like interface. Maybe I did something wrong. In that case, leave something down in the comments below and I can definitely try this out again and see if it's actually a usable option. But I really don't have as much as I would like to say about the interface, seeing as it seems to just have stripped away the sort of start menu for Ubuntu and the other things that make it actually a usable operating system. Of course, you can launch programs from the terminal and go into the menu to launch different settings and things like that, but it's definitely not the TV operating system I was hoping for. Anyway, that's about all I have for you guys today. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.